Hey everyone, welcome back to Bit by Knit with me, Jenny. I'm here with you guys today on the west coast of Canada in beautiful British Columbia. And I have an episode today for you guys with one garment finished object, but a couple of other finished objects, and a couple of works in progresses, and a couple of acquisitions, which I think if you remember, if you did watch last episode, I said I would not have probably any acquisitions, but I also said no promises, and so here we are with some acquisitions, and there's a reason, which we'll get to. Anyways, we're going to start off today with what I'm wearing, which is my garment finished object. This finished object is the Sundae Swirl Tank by Jessie Made Designs, and I made this because I am going to be going to the Knit City Vancouver festival in the middle of September, near the end of September, in a few weekends, and I'm going to be going with Bramble Ridge, Megan at Bramble Ridge. I'm going to be helping her in her booth there, and we kind of wanted to make a uniform of sorts between, there's 3 of us that are going to be there, Megan plus 2 of us to help her, and we wanted to have something to all wear together, and so we chose the Sundae Swirl Tank. So I needed to get this done, and it is done. So we'll talk about this first. I do have a little bit of B-roll I'll put up as well, showing kind of the full view of it, because I'll probably stand and stuff and you'll see it as well here, but I also have a video of it. So we'll talk about the pattern first, and then I'll stand up and then we'll talk about the yarn, of course. Anyway, Sundae Swirl Tank, Jessie Made Designs. I started this on July the 29th and I finished it on August 23rd. It's actually a really enjoyable pattern. I was a little bit unsure about it just because of all the cabling. I've never done this amount of cabling before, and I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't be able to get it done in time and that it would take a lot longer, but it's so enjoyable of a pattern. It's such a potato chippy pattern. It was so enjoyable to knit. The cable repeats, it's not like too often, it's not too frequent, so I felt like I was getting enough of a break between the cabling, but also when it was time to do the cabling, it was not a big deal. It's just a 2/2 cable, so easy. And I did buy a cable needle, and I mean, Megan sent me a video to show me how to do the cabling without needing the cable needle, and I totally could have done that. She sent a video. I just was a bit more confident and comfortable doing the first garment design that I've ever done before with a cable, using a cable needle, so that's what I ended up doing. And it worked out great, and it was quick. And she's finished already, so that's good. So for the pattern, in the pattern it calls for 3.25 millimeter needles for the body and a 2.75 for the all the like edging, ribbing details. And I did a swatch in the 3.25 and it was way too small. Oh, I shouldn't say way too small. I kind of messed up. I did the swatch. Here's the first swatch. It was supposed to be repeated 4 times, and I didn't read that carefully enough, and I repeated it just 3 times. So it probably would have been fine using the 3.25. Actually, I must have used, maybe I used 4 for this because I wouldn't have jumped this high. Maybe I used 4. And I was thinking it's probably too small, so I did it again in a 4.5 because I ended up using 4.5 millimeter needles for this pattern. And this is with the 4.5, the swatch that I did, and it was on gauge, so I ended up using 4.5, which is like a huge jump from the recommended 3.25, but I'm a really tight knitter, so maybe Jessie is a really loose knitter. And she actually, like in her pattern, it's using 3.25 millimeter needles with the DK weight yarn for 22 stitches by 32 rows. And like, to do 22 stitches with a 3.25, to me, I think that's tight. Or that's like, you'd have to be a really loose knitter. So I used 4.5, but I still stuck with the 2.75 for all the ribbing, and I'm glad I did, because it, I think it looks nicer and neater with the really smaller needles for the ribbing. So this is my swatch, and I'll come bring it up a little closer. And yeah, so I'm happy with how it turned out. I'm glad I swatched, because it was a big jump for needle sizes. I knit this in the size 2, and that was to accommodate a 34 to 38 chest circumference, and it calls for 0 to 4 inches or 0 to 10 centimeters of positive ease. So I did definitely match that. I've got a good amount of positive ease. I've got it kind of French tucked right now. It is shorter in the front and longer in the back, and I did stick with that with those instructions for the pattern. I'm not sure if I like wearing it as a tank top because of the way that this sits. It almost just says more vest look to me, but I don't know, we'll see. I don't wear vests. So at the festival at the Knit City Vancouver, I'll probably wear like a tank top underneath this because I'm not wearing one right now. I have my ceiling fan on right now to keep the room a little cooler. I hope you guys can't hear that, but if you hear a little humming, it's my ceiling fan. And I can feel like the breeze going through all the lace, and it's a little chilly. So, and like in a couple of weeks, it's probably going to be even chillier here in like the Vancouver area. So yeah, I probably will need to wear a tank top underneath or like a cardigan or something over top. Anyways, yeah, okay, so I used up a whole 2.5 balls of yarn. I should have weighed my leftover yarn, but I have like probably about a half a ball left of the yarn that I used, so it took just like 2.5 balls of yarn, and I only bought 3, so I don't have too much left over, so that's always good. And the yarn is from Bramble Ridge. It is her organic wool linen DK weight yarn that I used, and it's in the colorway Squall. And I'll bring up the tag here. This is my second time knitting something with the organic wool linen blend from Bramble Ridge, and I really like the yarn. I really enjoy working with it. I think because I finally had, I got a bit more of an idea of how it feels to me when I'm knitting with it, because I don't mind the feel at all. I actually think it feels really neat. I think what comes to mind is it feels dry. So yeah, it's not like, I don't know, it's a really unique feel. I like it. It's hard to describe, but I think dry is a good description of it. And it does have like linen strings that kind of come out. So I did, like, I'll bring up my swatch because there's a couple in there that you can definitely see. And that's just kind of all throughout the yarn. So it gives it a little bit of a fiber. I don't know. It's different, but I like it. And yeah, so that is all ready to go for Vancouver's Knit City coming up in a couple weeks. I'm very excited to go to that. Okay. I think that's all I had to say about this pattern. Yeah, that's all I wrote down. I have like my notes in front of me. I actually make notes, you guys. I don't usually. Okay, so this is my one garment finished object. I'll talk about my other little projects that I also did that are finished objects, but I just wanted to, like, I usually pretty much only knit garments, but there's a couple of things that I will knit for Christmas gifts and stuff, so I did finally get on that. I made my dishcloths. I've got 3 of my dishcloths made. So this is one of them. They're all the same. I just have 1, 2, 3 of them done. They're nothing special. It's just like a garter stitch. I just made up the pattern myself way back when I started doing dishcloths, when I was making them when I first started knitting. It's just garter, but what I do is I will knit, like, garter a couple of rows, and then I will try to make a little bit of ridge. I just change it a little bit. I'll purl 5, like I cast on 30. I'll do garter for a little bit, and then I will purl 5 across, and then I'll knit 20, and then I'll purl 5 on the other side. So it gives it a little bit of a border, I guess is what I'm looking for. I did it a little differently this time. What I usually do is knit 5, purl 20, knit 5, so it gives it a whole border all the way around. And this does still do that a little bit, but not really actually. But it just gives it a bit more than just a garter look. You can probably see that a little bit there. I've tried the like corner to corner dishcloth. That's probably the most common one to do for gifts. But it always like peeks out at the last little part, and I don't like that. And I mean, maybe I could figure out how to make it look normal now, because I was doing that when I first started knitting and it was like, ugh. And maybe now, because I've been knitting for much longer, I would be able to mitigate that, but I don't bother. This is so much easier. You don't have to think about increases and decreases and doing you know, whatever, knit two together, whatever, to get that little pattern in there. It's just garter, so easy peasy, and you can just mindlessly knit it. So this, and I don't like, I'm not super careful about making sure they're all the same size. I cast on 30. I do a little bit of garter before I start my little pattern. I do 20 rounds in that pattern, and then I do a little bit more garter without the pattern, and then I cast off. So they're all probably a little bit not all the same length and size, but that's okay. They're gifts. And so those are going to be Christmas gifts. I got 3 done, and I've got a 4th one on the needles. And that's probably all I need to do for gifting. For the dishcloths, I need to make myself a couple too, though. And then I will also probably make those pot holders, Turn On Yourself pot holders by Bev. I don't remember her last name. I think it starts with a V or a Z or something, because those are fun for gifts as well. And then I needed a new mop cover for I have like one of those steam mops, you know, that you wash your floors with. And I like making my own mop covers for it, because the ones that you buy that are microfiber or whatever, they just like, they never clean. Like they don't wash up really nicely in the washing machine, and then they don't stick really well to the bottom, especially if you buy the cheap ones off Amazon. They really don't stick well to the bottom of my mop where the Velcro is. And so just to make your own is, then you've got like, you make the little pocket and it goes over the mop thing so it stays on better. I'm doing really good with describing. Anyways, this is what that is, and it's a crochet pattern. It's called, I wrote it down, it's a free crochet mop cover pattern by Grace and Yarn. It's just like on their website. You can actually get the pattern off of Ravelry too if you want to pay whatever, I think it was $5.75 Canadian for it. But she also provides it free on her website at Grace and Yarn, by Grace and Yarn. Yeah, so that's what I use. I just use the free online pattern, and it's not pretty. You can see all my ends, but it's a mop cover, who cares? I bought this yarn, which by the way is the same yarn that I made these with. I just didn't bring in the big ball for these ones, but it's the same yarn. It's Brene, whatever, Yarn Inspirations, cotton, 100% cotton. I think it's like worsted weight or something like that. 4-ply medium. And it's just perfect cotton, yeah, for these kinds of things. Dishcloths and mop covers and the Turn On Yourself pot holders. Those kinds of things. I like to use this big ball. And I bought this one because it has orange in it, but I knew I didn't want to make something that I would gift people with it, because it reminds me a lot of Ronald McDonald for some reason, or like ketchup and mustard and whatever, even though it's orange, not red. But those are the vibes it gives me. So definitely just for fun, and things like mop covers where I don't care. So those are my only finished objects, which I mean isn't like an only thing. I don't think this actually was probably not even cast on. I don't think this was even cast on the last time that I filmed, was it? No, it wasn't. And I did a terrible job explaining the pattern, didn't I? Because I didn't even tell you guys, like, it's a top down. You start at the back and you like work your way down, and then you join at the shoulders and you work your way down and you join at the round, and then you like pick up stitches for the neck and the sleeves. And I don't think I said any of that. So yeah, because this was brand new. You guys didn't see this. I'm sorry. I'm being forgetful. That's my life. Okay, yes, finished objects. Okay, so we're going to go on to works in progresses. I'm going to start with, I think I'll start with my most, I don't know, my newest one that you guys haven't seen at all, but I did talk about it in the last episode, because I was talking about, I bought yarn in the last episode in plans for a possibility of being allowed to do a test knit for Mishyfrazz and Meeshyfrazz online, and I got into the test knit, so I get to use the yarn, and I started the project, and I'm a good ways through it, so we're going to talk about that first. So this pattern, I'm gonna, yeah, I'll show the whole thing actually. Let's just make sure I show it from the front. So I got accepted to do the test knit for Mishyfrazz at Mishyfrazz, and it's the Misty Pines sweater. And this is a design that she had made a little while ago for like a toque and for mittens, and now she's made it into a sweater. And I'm aware that it looks like my color work is bunching, but I've done the stretch out test and it does stretch out nicely. My floats are good. I just have to block it. So it does look a little bit bunchy here, but it will block out when I do the blocking. I just haven't done that yet. So please ignore the fact that it looks all bunchy there. I'm confident it will block out. But anyways, this is my version of the Misty Pines sweater. And I'm just on the neck now. I've done the whole body. The body's done. It's worked top down. You start at the back, and then you connect at the shoulders, and you do the front, and then you join it around. You're doing the color work. You do the ribbing. You're doing a come on, Brady, you can do this. Tubular cast off. And then I picked up for the neck to do that next, and it looks long, but it's actually going to be a folded over collar. I've only got one more round to do before I do the fold over and knit it down, but I didn't bother finishing that before I recorded just because I've got a free window of time right now. My one kid is at school, my other kid is editing something that he recorded, and so I've got a bit of time to do this with minimal interruptions, so I thought I would just do that instead of finish the neck. So here we are. So yeah, I'm going to hopefully get the neck finished today. I'll pick up for the sleeves and get that working on that because the deadline is middle of September to get this done. And she is like, she is not like, it's not a, oh, it's what I'm looking for. She's willing to give extensions, of course, if you're not done in time. But I'm going to try to be done in time for that deadline. But it's not set in stone anyways. So this pattern is with worsted weight yarn. She actually uses Blue Sky Fibers Woolstock worsted for her pattern, or for her design. And I'm using Drops Sky, I think. Hold on, let me get my yarn. Yeah, Drop Sky. Drop Sky. And I've got a bunch of colors that I'll try to remember to put up here for the colors that I've used, and because I'm not going to be able to read them or remember them. But yeah, this is how she's looking, and I think it's really pretty. So Michelle when she made the sweater, she initially made the chart with two different motifs. Like you could do the large tree or the small tree motif, and then as we were starting our project, she actually designed a third motif. So I used the third motif in mine, which is a little less, it's a less blocky, but still large scale motif. So I'm really happy with how that looks. And you put the motif on the bottom of the sleeves as well. So you just knit a little ways on the sleeve, and then you add the motif for the bottom of the sleeves as well. So the pattern it's actually, because it's a worsted weight pattern, it's swatched at 18.5 by 31 to get 10 centimeters. And the first swatch that I did was not meeting that gauge at all. And so I realized I would have to hold this double. Even though I think it's a DK, and I was hoping that because it's so floofy, it would work to be like more of a worsted weight. It's not. Maybe because I'm such a tight knitter, I'm really stretching out those fibers. But I needed to hold it double, so I had to do a second swatch holding it double. And my swatches are actually pretty, I don't know, they're not very nice. I don't know why. The swatches look kind of gimpy. Here's my first one, tiny. And then my second one. And I worked it in the round. I didn't even carry the yarn behind. There's my floats. But yeah, for some reason I was a little bit worried because it doesn't look very crisp in my swatch. I was worried that my sweater's pattern was also not going to show up that crisp, but I think it looks really good. I think it showed up really nicely. So let's bring this up close. And in case anybody wants to see my floats, I'll show you a little section of them. I'm not catching floats. I'm not catching my floats. I was going to, but then Michelle doesn't catch her floats, and she showed us the, like, her floats on her sweater, and they look like beautiful. So I'm like, well, and I try not catching my floats. So I'm not catching them, which I think worked out fine. I just made sure that I had enough, like I separated my stitches enough before I carried the yarn over. I'm an English knitter, and so I'm using my right hand to knit. And I was thinking I would try doing like alternating with the English and the continental for this color work, but I'm not confident in that. And so what I just do, I use one, I knit it, I drop it, I pick up the next one, I knit it, I drop it, and I pick up the next one, sort of thing. And I was just very conscious of making sure that my floats were stretched out enough. So yeah, so then when I do this, it has lots of stretch. It should even out nicely. And the longest float that I had, I didn't even catch either. So there's some pretty long ones in there, but yeah, that looks fine. And it's a, like I said, it's a top-down drop shoulder design. And what else? I'm doing a size 3. So the pattern calls for, what was it, 7 to 8? Did I get that right? 7 to 8 inches, or I don't think I wrote, oh, maybe I did. 7 to 8 inches of positive ease, or 18 to 20.5 centimeters of positive ease. And I didn't want quite that much positive ease, so I went a little bit smaller on my choice. I did the size 3 instead of the size 4. And in Michelle's pattern, like if you looked at her sample, she did a size 4, and her and I are, I think, like very similarly sized, like bust, chest, whatever size. So I probably should have done the 4 if I wanted the same ease that I wanted it a little bit, not like snug or anything, but just a little bit less positive ease. So yeah, I chose size 3. And I was a little bit worried that she was going to be too long, but then I tried it on and it's actually perfect. And I do not think I took a picture of that. Did I take a picture of that? If I did, I'll put it up, but I don't think I did. And I was hoping to be able to get a video or picture of me wearing this today, but because I didn't finish the neck yet, I couldn't fit it over my head. I tried and it didn't work, so I wasn't going to force it. If I get the neck done before I post this video, then I will try to remember to take a picture or a little video of it done for this episode. But otherwise, it'll be next time, hopefully finished. And I'm loving it. It's such an enjoyable pattern. And like when you get to the color work, it's so, I keep saying it's potato chippy. I think I said that with this one as well, but it's true. You just want to get through the next tree and the next color, and yeah, so it's a lot of fun. And I think the sleeves will fly, which I'm hoping to also get started on today. I think that's all I needed to say about this. Did I say the needle sizes? I'm using size 5 needles, and the pattern called for 4.5, so I went up by like one size up to meet gauge. And I have all of my yarns in this big bag. All my yarn. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm not taking it all out though. It's a lot, and they're all in like little balls because I bought like one color of each for the motif, and because I ended up having to hold a double, I just like wound up half of that ball and cut it in half, so then I have 2 of the one colors each in there, so I could pull. I didn't have to pull from the center and from the outside, because this is actually really annoying to find the center pull on this, and it kind of gets too tangled, so it's better to pull on the outside with this style of yarn, I find anyways. And so instead of doing like a center pull and an outside pull with one ball, it was just easier to separate them and have 2 balls. So that's what I ended up doing. So there's lots of small pieces in there. And And just like a little aside as to why I got more acquisitions, it had to do with this project. I was worried I was going to run out of yarn. When I realized I'd have to hold it double, I didn't think I was going to have enough of this color to finish my sweater, which I didn't. I definitely needed one ball. I feel like I overestimated after that, so I ended up buying 3 more balls of this. And then I was really worried I was going to run out of the black because I knew I was going to finish off the bottom of the sweater with the black. I thought it would be more that I would be using than what I did use. So I ended up buying 2 more balls of the black, and I am not going to need to touch those, like, at all. I did not need to buy those, but I'll have to find something to do with them. So that's part of my acquisition, was just getting a bit more yarn for this project. And that's the reason I bought acquisitions. And then I wanted free shipping, so that's why I bought more acquisitions, which we'll show at the end. Okay, that sweater is on its way to being completed. I did also start up again, so since I finished this, I'm going back to projects that I kind of put to the side since my last episode, so I've been picking that up again. And I did work a bit on my mixed rib cami by Florence Miller, handmade by Florence. It's not going to look like much more progress just because it's such a small, it's fingering weight yarn. So I probably was about like just about here when we talked last. So I've done like this much more since we talked last. So it doesn't look like a ton, but I thought I would show it just because I did make some progress. So this is my mixed rib cami by Florence Miller. I am doing the size B. I'm using 3.25 millimeter needles. The pattern calls for 3 millimeter. I didn't have 3 millimeters, so I went up a size, and it's fine because when I blocked it, I was meeting gauge. I just did I blocked the back panel and measured it, and I was meeting gauge, so I am fine with that. And then it does call for a 2.5 millimeter needle when you get to the I-cord finishings, so I'll use that size. The gauge is 30 by 38 to get 10 centimeters, so that's really small, which is why it's taking me forever. And it calls for my size 700 meters of yarn, 700 meters. So I had 2 balls of this, so that's pretty much perfect amount. I think I'll have a little bit left over. I don't know though, because I still have like this much left. This is my second ball, but it was more than one whole ball, just the way that I had divided up the balls from a previous project. And this is like, I feel like I've got a bit of way still to go. I feel, I'm definitely going to have to go quite a bit more down. But I'm still wondering if I've got more yarn than I need, which is a good thing to do. A good thing to have a problem with, to have more than not enough. But I want to use it all up because it's nice yarn and I don't want to have leftovers. So we'll see. This pattern does call for 10 to 15 centimeters of negative ease. It's a negative ease garment. And so because of that, like you can do, once you're at connecting the underarms, you can do some decreases to get some more waist shaping. So I did a few decreases in there. I don't know if you'll be able to see them. I'll bring it up close. It looks a little bit rough, but I'll even out once I block it. So I did those decreases. I just did 4 sets of them, and hopefully that's not too much, and hopefully it's enough. I don't know. I didn't block it. I didn't try it on. I didn't want to have to hassle with that just because the way that I transfer my stitches, I use the try-it-on tubing, and because it's such a small gauge, it doesn't really work. The try-it-on tubing's like too big to put these stitches on hold easily. And so I was like, I don't want to hassle with that. So we're just winging it and hoping that it's going to be fine. Famous last words, but that's okay. Yeah, so this is what she's looking like. I'm going to bring up this side. This is the back, but it's the blocked side, so it looks a little nicer. And the yarn that I'm using is, I think I can put the information up here if I remember. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's a mixed blend from what I can tell, but it's from an old knit crate box that I got years ago, so I don't have that information anymore handy. But it was made into a shawl I didn't like or wear ever, so I undid the shawl and now I'm using it for this. So that's that one. I can't wait for it to be done. It's taking forever. And then I think the last time that we talked, I also hadn't shown you any real progress on my skeeter skirt. I don't remember. I should have maybe looked at the video, but I don't remember. So I'm going to show it, and hopefully it's new news to you guys. But this is my skeeter skirt so far. Oops, I'm dropping things. I actually haven't touched it in a couple weeks, but I'm pretty sure I was working on it since I showed it last. So I've got it all the way to in the round now. I've got the pockets in, which you do like back and forth to get to that point if you want to add the pockets to the skirt. And then, yeah, you join in the round, and now I'm just knitting around and around and doing increases when it calls for increases. And yeah, it's going to take me also a long time to finish, probably because it's a skirt. But I'm really happy with how it's looking so far. I was a little bit nervous that it was like too tight of a gauge, but maybe it's fine. It's hard to know for sure unless I were to try it on, but I don't want to do that. So yeah, this is the skeeter skirt by Maya Tinks, Maya Diglon on YouTube, or YouTube, I think she's Maya Tinks, I should say. She made this, was her very first pattern, and it's a, it does not have, like, you can use any yarn, it's for any size. It's, I always forget what to call this. It's not, like, it's size inclusive, yes, but there's a different word for it, where it has like gaugeless, there we go, it's gaugeless, which is beautiful. And what you do is you start with you do like a double knit waistband, and you just knit it around until it gets to the size that you want it. And then you put the elastic in, and you pick up stitches along the bottom of the waistband for the skirt. And then if you want, you can add pockets. If you don't want, you don't have to add pockets. If you add pockets, then you're just working back and forth for a little bit, and then join in the round. Otherwise, you just join in the round. And I really want pockets, so I add the pockets. So like once you add the pockets, it's a fabric liner that you're putting in there. So you just knit back and forth to make this space, and then when you're done the project, you have the fabric lining, or you can add it whenever, I guess, for the, yeah. So you actually have a place to put your hand. It's not just into your free space of the skirt, whatever. So that's how far I am. I have ways to go. I'm a little bit nervous I'm going to run out of yarn. I'm on to my I'm on to my third and fourth ball, and I have 8 total. So I've used up 2. I'm on 3 and 4. I'm holding a double. I'll have 2 more sets of doubles to hold. So hopefully it'll be enough, but because you're doing increases every so often, the skirt's growing, you're going to have less length every time for the rounds for how much you're using. Does that make sense? I don't know. So we'll see. If I have to buy more, I have to buy more, but then you're not guaranteed. You're not guaranteed the same lot number, of course. I'm actually a little bit tempted to switch to single, like to drop 1 and just go to the single ball once I hit like low enough that it's not going to be scandalous. So like maybe mid-thigh, I can switch to 1 skein, and then it looks, if it's a little bit more see-through, it's not a big deal because it's just showing my thigh. Okay, yeah. And I'm using Knitting for Olive Pure Silk for this pattern, and in the colorway Deep Petroleum Blue. And here. So my plan is, once I'm done my Misty Pines sweater, I'm going to finish my cami and then the skirt. But I might introduce another sweater in the meantime as well, just because these are both small scale projects, and I don't think I could just work on something like this monotonously. It would drive me crazy because it's so small and takes forever. Okay, I think that's all the works in progresses I wanted to talk about. I still haven't gone back to my shawl sweater wrap by Meeshyfrazz. That is also something I'm going to start introducing again once maybe one of these 2 projects are done. But Yeah, because I really wanted to reduce my whips before I introduce new ones, but at the same time, I think when I'm done with this sweater, I need to cast on another sweater. Which, I'm not sure which one I'll do yet, but I have options. Okay. I also did not touch the blankets, those, or the socks. So those we're not going to talk about today. We'll go into acquisitions. Okay, so like I said, I had to buy more yarn for my Misty Pines, so I just decided to make it free shipping, and in order to do that, I had to buy more yarn. Which, that's okay. The first one I'm going to talk about is one that I'm planning. I did a swatch for already. It's one that I'm planning to do for my Tinks did another pattern called the Melon Sweater, and I bought that pattern when it came out, and so I bought some yarn for making that pattern. Maybe not next because it's still fingering weight, so maybe next time. We'll see how many projects I've done. Maybe I'll put it on the needles at the same time as another sweater. Anyways, I bought yarn for it. So I did the swatch already, which I'll show you. It's not a great swatch. I did not do it as long or as big as she suggested, and I still haven't blocked it. But here's what it's looking like. And the yarn that I got is Sundae Swirl Tank Pure Gint. And I've always wanted to try this yarn, so I bought it to try, and I thought it'd be perfect for the melon sweater. I bought these all at Beehive Wool Shop, by the way, in Victoria, on Vancouver Island in British Columbia. Is where I got this from. And I've always, like I said, I've always wanted to try the Pure Gint, and because the melon sweater calls for fingering weight yarn, I thought this would be perfect. And it is, it's not in English. I don't remember what type of yarn it is. What is it? Do I have it in here? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the breakdown is. If I remember, I will put up here what the composition of this yarn is. But I got 6 of the blackberry juice, which is this nice dark color, and then I got 3 of the pink peony, which is this one. Okay, so that's going to be for the melon sweater, which I did the, like, carrying the yarn behind to make my gauge swatch because it's supposed to be in the round, so that's why it's such a mess. And then I bought, okay, let's see. Yeah, and then I bought some Tinline by Sundae Swirl. I think it's a blend. Tinline, is that cotton and other things? I can't remember. Again, I'll put it up there. Anyways, I got 3 of the matcha and 1 of the, what's this color? 1 of the putty, yes. 3 of the matcha and 1 of the putty. And I was thinking of making, so I bought a tank pattern by Twin Stitch Designs. I bought a tank pattern by Twin Stitches Designs. Actually, I might have gotten it for free, actually, sorry. I think I got it for free because I did that, I did a test knit for her for the t-shirt version of the, oh, my brain. Nope, not gonna come to me. I did a t-shirt, come on, brain. I test knit a t-shirt pattern for her, and after the test knit, she lets you pick a pattern of hers for free. So I picked the tank top version of it, and I'll put the information up here. And so I thought these would look nice. So the green would be my main color, and then the putty would be my contrast color. So that's the plan for this. If I didn't get enough of the putty, which I'm a little bit nervous I didn't, then I might do less stripes of this color and more thicker stripes of this color to make it work. And it's just a tank top, so I think it should be fine. So that was the plan for that one. And then I also bought one more yarn. Which is the Baby Merino, Drops Baby Merino in the colorway North Sea. And I did have a plan for this one as well. I can't remember exactly what it was for. If I do though, I'll put it up here. I was trying to be mindful of buying yarns that I knew what I wanted to do with right aways, and I should have written it down, but I didn't, but that's okay. I think it's for a pattern that I either already own or is my plan to next purchase for a t-shirt or a tank top. So that's what this is for. It's showing up blue, but it's really a teal. That's not at all how the color shows in real life. It's more of a teal. So yeah, I got 4 of those for that other pattern that's somewhere in my mind that I'm gonna do. Summer pattern. Okay. Yeah, that's all I got. It's a lot, but it's gonna be projects that I already have in mind or already purchased. I'm pretty sure I tried to stick with patterns that I already owned so that I wasn't being wasteful that way. And that's all that I have for you guys today. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm looking forward to, I think the next time I'll see you guys will be after the Vancouver yarn, Knit City Vancouver. I think the next time I'll record will be after Knit City Vancouver. So I will again have acquisitions because I don't think I can get through a whole Knit City without purchasing yarn. So we'll have acquisitions for that one too. And I hope to have more finished objects by then. Definitely the Misty Pines sweater will be done by then because the due date is before that Vancouver Knit City happens. So I should have that done by then. Anyways, thanks for joining me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode, even though I felt like it was a little bit, not chaotic, but I just didn't have even though I wrote down my notes, I still feel like I probably missed some stuff, but that's okay. That's how my brain works. Unfortunately, it's a little bit scattered, but we're good. I will see you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.